Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to the Lumen Release overview. I am Dan Bergner with Youreka and very excited to be walking you through all of the great new benefits and features that Lumen has to offer. I'm joined today by Gary Stum, who is our product manager of industry solutions. Gary's out there getting set up to do a demonstration of some of Lumen's great new capabilities. But first, I'm going to do a quick overview of what Lumen has in store for everyone. All right, so out of the gate, we'll kick off with our very first industry accelerator. This one's for the Energy and Utilities Accelerator. This is one of many on the horizon for us over the course of the next few months. And then we've got some great spotlight features as kind of core enhancements to the Youreka product. We've got more advanced logic for formulas, more advanced logic for comparative validation, things to make life easier for all of your end users, like turning pick lists, your Field Link Picklists into radio buttons, having default answers to specific questions, and naming conventions for photos, all things that'll make life faster and easier for your end users. And then more in the advanced category, multiple instances of linked sections within a single template. And then lastly, we've got some great new branding options available as well. So with that, let's go ahead and dive in. I will start with our Energy and Utilities Accelerator. So as I mentioned, we'll be delivering many of these across different verticals over the course of the next few months. And it's really all about making things fast and easy for our customers. How do I get up and running as an energy and utilities customer? Give me some templates to start with, help me configure my Salesforce environment. These are all of the benefits that you'll get from installing an accelerator. So the way accelerators work is if you access it through the QR code or from our website, there's a package that you can download into your Salesforce instance, and it will apply some configurations to that instance and give you access to pre-configured Youreka templates. So you'll be able to click through a list, pick the templates that you're interested in, install them in your Youreka org, and you can then configure those templates, make them your own, tailor fit them to meet the needs of your organization. You can see a few examples of some of the ones we're bringing to bear with the Energy and Utilities Accelerator, like the pre-job safety checklist, and Gary will be doing a brief demonstration of that template a little bit later. All right, so lots of great stuff coming on the accelerator front. We're very excited to break the ice with the Energy and Utilities Accelerator. Let's move on to the core enhancements to the Youreka product. So up first, we have new logic for formulas. So previously, you were able to do a little bit of math inside of these formulas, right? So you can see examples here of we've got some yes/no question types, and we're applying some weighted numerical values to some of the responses, like this yes is worth 2 points, the no is worth 0. And we could do some basic arithmetic before we start to add up values. Well, what if you want to get more advanced? What if your end users need help making more complex decisions on the fly? We want Youreka to do all of that analysis. You can now turn on this if-then logic setting, and that's going to let you start to turn some of these rows into an if statement. So you could start to say, if row 1 is greater than row 2, then do this, or roll the value up to a 10 or 100. And the combination of these if statements and these comparison operators, like greater than, less than, equal to, not equal to, is going to empower all of these Youreka implementations of custom formulas to really go to the next level of complex calculations, ultimately helping your end users make decisions on the fly or see appropriate content inside of their forms as a guided next step. So really great capability there in terms of our formula enhancements. Now, we've had some requests for expanding support for comparative validation. So there's certain question types that comparative validation has worked on previously. We've now brought text questions and email questions into the fold so that they are also supported by comparative validation. And again, the goal with this type of validation is data integrity, making sure that the data our end users are collecting is accurate. We all experience comparative validation in everyday life when we're registering for something and it prompts us for our email address once, and then again a second time to confirm that our email addresses match. So that's a perfect application here inside of Youreka. Perhaps you're in the field collecting an email address from a respondent to a survey and you want to make sure that you got it right. So you enter it 2 times, Youreka is going to check and make sure that it in fact matches before it lets you proceed with your form. So great updates there. And the next one is again in the vein of let's make things fast and easy for our end users. Really simple concept of how radio buttons can become more efficient than pick lists. It takes 1 tap of the screen or click of the mouse to respond to a radio button, whereas a pick list requires 2. First, you have to open the pick list and then select a value. So this has been a long-standing request. You all have these great pick lists that you've built in your Salesforce instance. You want to field link to those pick lists inside of Youreka, but you want to show them as radio buttons instead of pick lists. Well, now you can do it. You'll see on the screen here, if you just go through and select your field link question type, you'll now have a new option to display as a radio button, and Youreka will go through, grab all your pick list values and turn them into radio button options to make things faster and easier for your end users. And while we're at it, making things faster and easier for end users, how about we cover the ability to have default answers to questions? So if 90% of the time the answer to a common question is yes, and we want to default the answer to yes, but give the end users the ability to override and change the answer, it's a perfect use case for default answers. Here you can see we're demoing a multi-select pick list, and we've opted for hard hat to be the default answer here. So again, it's going to make things fast and easy for end users, and a great quick modification you can make to your templates with the Lumen release. And a lot of our customers are taking advantage of Youreka's ability to capture photos, especially on mobile devices in the field. And maybe you're even using Youreka's photo gallery to comb through all of those photos on the back end and view them in a consolidated view. Well, we've had this request where, hey, can you guys just default the name of the photo to the question label? Today, you're able to prompt end users for a photo file name. You can default it to the current date timestamp. Well, this new enhancement lets you use the question label as the photo file name so that you've got some consistency, especially for those customers who are exporting Youreka's images out to an external system. So great updates here. And then in the more advanced category is the concept of multiple instances of linked sections. I know it's a mouthful, all within one template. So what you'll see from Gary in the field today is he's linking to an object called form feedback. Maybe your end users are interacting with work order line items or a custom object for repair recommendations, whatever it may be. Previously, you could only have that link section present once inside of a template. And now you'll be able to have it present in multiple locations throughout a template. And you can choose to display them at certain times based on conditional logic. So this is going to make things a lot faster and easier for your end users so that they don't have to jump around to go back to that link section, which is maybe on page 1 when you have a new observation on page 4 of a form. You can now have that link section present multiple times. So I think it's enough talk about the enhancements. Let me see if I can get Gary to join us here from the field to do some demonstrations. Gary out there. Hey, Gary, how are you?
Dan, thanks so much for having me. I've got to admit, we are such big fans of these guided procedures. They save us while we're out in the field. So thank you for having us.
Gary, was that a dad joke? The windmills behind you?
That's exactly what it was. Glad you enjoyed it. We keep it light here.
All right, Gary, I'll turn it over to you. If you want to bring your mobile device up here on the screen and show us what you're working with.
Great, Dan, much appreciated. Just started to share my mobile device. I'm here with the team at McHenry, and we're super excited about this procedure. Well, I want to take a second to show you where we're at and see how we can start to drive some additional efficiency in the process. So we'll give you some feedback, and hopefully you can help us improve the process. So first and foremost, we're going to check into Buchanan here, and we're going to take a look at a pre-safety assessment as we go on site and take a look at a turbine engine. You can see that there's some data that's pre-populated, all super helpful. We are in fact at the location. Sure would be helpful if this was defaulted, because I usually don't pull the form up until I'm already on site at location anyway. In terms of some notable safety hazards, I do note that there is one item, some dogs. We'll take a quick picture of that in just a second. We do have protective clothing. And let's take a capture of this so that we've documented any of that risk for files. Got a picture here. We'll notate the name, that it's a dog risk. We'll back out and then continue to move along the process. Now, the asset that we're working on, let me see if I can scan this to validate that we're working on the proper asset. And we are all wearing the proper PPE. Now I'm going to give Dan a little bit of feedback here and let him know that, Dan, it sure would be helpful if we could default the location to yes and give the picture a default value of the question label. Just think that'll drive some efficiency as we're answering a lot of questions out in the field. Now, as I toggle to the next page, we can see on the top of my screen, I've got an error. So there's some validation that's taking place in the background. So as I scroll back, we can see that I'm working on the wrong asset. So I'm going to scan in the proper asset, and this will be the one that we'll kick our work off on today. Go to the next page, no validation error, which is fantastic. We are properly clad. And I'm going to give Dan some final feedback. Here at McHenry, we do have some custom branding. Sure would be helpful if we could use our custom branding directly within the app, since we've invested a lot of time and resource. Beautiful. And let's sign, validating we've rendered all of our work, and let's submit this to Dan. Dan, if you will, can you have a quick look at some of our feedback and let us know if you can make any changes for us on the fly?
Gary, you bet. Great work out there in the field. And let's see if I can make a few updates for you. I see I've got my 2 notifications. Your feedback has come through. Let's make a few quick changes here. So inside of those 2 changes, we had this pesky question around asking if you can access the location. And it sounds like 90% of the time the answer is yes. So I'm going to go ahead and change that one to have a default answer of yes. And then we've got our photo question. And rather than asking that to prompt you for a name, And I saw you've got some dogs on the loose out there, but fortunately are wearing their proper protective equipment. Will still make your life a little bit easier here by auto naming this question with the photo label. So we'll save those updates. And Gary, I guess the one other item I'll make a quick change to here is let's give it some of that great new McHenry branding live in the application as well. So I think you're probably arriving at your second turbine here for your next inspection. So I'm going to go ahead and push this new form and these changes out to your mobile device here. Let me give the screen back to you. And if you give me 2 more seconds, I think you can probably hit refresh in your mobile app and make sure that you've got those changes here.
Boy, that was quick, Dan. Thank you so much. You can see it. We're already starting to see the custom branding come through, which is fantastic. Thank you for that quick fix. And then let me click directly into today's appointment. We'll refresh and we'll look for that second form. We're going to rewind that, if you don't mind. All right, Dan, thank you so much. Really appreciate the quick fix there. And if you take a look at the screen, you can see that we're already seeing our custom branding flow through the application. So it looks fantastic. Now I'm going to check into Buchanan again, and we're going to see that brand new form there for our second safety assessment. All that information is pre-populated, and look at that. The location is defaulted to yes, so really appreciate the efficiency there. And then, of course, we're going to take another picture of that hazard. This time we've noted that there are some water snakes on site, so we'll grab a quick picture of that. And we can see that the label of the picture has been defaulted to the question. So fantastic. Appreciate you making all those changes. You know, while they do seem small to some, we're answering so many questions and going through so many forms on a regular basis. This drives a lot of efficiency for our organization. Thank you.
That's great, Gary. Glad I was able to help, and be safe out there. Watch out for those snakes. And with that, I will wrap us up here. So we got a quick look at the ability to apply new branding to the mobile app. So inside of the mobile app, you'll still have the Youreka icon on the screen. You'll still see the Youreka logo on the splash screen when the app starts up. But once your end users are inside of the app, your branding can control the rest of their experience. So really cool opportunity to make Youreka's mobile app your own. And that is an overview of the spotlight features that we've got here inside of the Lumen Release. But there's lots of other great enhancements that come along with Lumen Release. Including some pre-packaged reports and dashboards to help you make the most of your Youreka implementation to optimize mobile performance. So please spend some time checking out the full list of enhancements with Lumen. And for those admins that are helping orgs upgrade to the Lumen Release, please pay close attention to the metadata updates and the changes to profiles and permissions in the event that you've cloned any of Youreka's and started to implement your own customized versions of permissions or access. If you would like to learn more about all of the finite details of the Lumen Release, you can scan the QR code or head out to the URL on the page here and do your full deep dive. If you've got any questions about how to take advantage of Lumen, please reach out to your customer success manager or to your partner account manager, and we'll be happy to help get you sorted and on your path to leveraging Lumen. Thank you all very much for your time today. We're very excited about the release and look forward to your feedback. Thanks.